Hello YouTube, Luigi here. I'm showing you the Lume on a Casio HDC-700. You'll notice the Lume is at the tips of the hands and on the ends of the applied raised indices. But it also has this, if I can find the button, which they call the illuminator with afterglow. I think this is pretty worthless, but it's got the feature anyway. No matter how long you hold it, it only stays down a given number of times, then eventually fades off. All right, so that's the Lume. And you know I always do those first because I don't know how to roll anything in yet, still. Someday I'll get some decent editing software. Okay, what do we have here? This is the Casio. I'm trying to read without my glasses, my notes. HDC-700 series, and the numbers that follow have to do with the colorway. This is a 3A2V, which I think means green case on a green strap. It takes module 5565. It's a Japanese movement, but it is cased in China. 48 millimeters. It's pretty chunky. 48 millimeters. I'm going to unstrap this here. Because of the resin, case, and strap, it only weighs 48.2 grams, but it is a respectable 15 millimeters thick. You know, it's got a G-Shock look, but because it's, and it has a, see the display down there? And this is an anti-digital. And if you were to get a G-Shock that was anti-digital, it'd probably cost you 4 or 5 times as much. Once G-Shock decides to put digital analog hands on it, for some reason that really raises the price. But it's got that G-Shock kind of rugged, tactical, luggy kind of look to it. And I'm not sure why I bought it, because this is so not like the tool watches I usually wear. So, no second hand, but in the time display option, you can have the seconds flashing by down there if you like. This is how I like it. Saturday, the 2nd of February, the 15th of February, the day after Valentine's Day. That's how I like the display, just like that. So I've got this set up for me. It has no pushers. You make all the adjustments with these 3 buttons. This is the A button, this is B, and this is C. Now, I'm not going to go through all the features, adjusting the features, but I will go through the features in a moment and show you how you use these 3 buttons. It's pretty much the same methodology for all of them. This is a mineral crystal dial. It has a 28 millimeter strap, 9.5 inches. There's plenty of strap here. They say it can take an 8.5 inch wrist max size. I have a 7.5, and I have no issues with this whatsoever. We have 10 ATM or 100 meters of water resistance. It has, like all things like this, it has more features than you'll probably ever use. One of them is it can store 30 telememos. Now that's either telephone numbers or short memos. Why would you use a watch to do that? I don't get it. And I saw somebody trying to do it, and it's very tedious to peck out letters of the alphabet on these tiny little buttons here. It has 5 alarms. Now, speaking only for myself, I can concede 1 alarm is handy, but 5, really? People need 5? Here's a really cool feature. It's got a full calendar, meaning perpetual, to the year 2099, and we're coming up on a leap year month here in February, and I can't wait to see if it knows not only that it's February, but that it's a leap year February. It's got a countdown timer, and of course it has a stopwatch with a 100th of a second accuracy. Now all these features I just listed, and there's probably more that I didn't name, are adjusted by these 3 buttons, the A button, the B button, and the C button. This is not a pusher up here. When you decide you want to adjust something, see the red where it says adjust? You hit this first. Then you scroll through this until you find the feature you want to adjust. And once you get that on the screen, you scroll through this until you get the option on its display, or whatever you want it to say in terms of time. With this one, when you get all these features where you want them, you go back up to the A button and press that. That's like save all. That will save all your changes. And it's the same methodology for whatever feature it is you want to adjust or change. It has a 1-year warranty. It's got what I call a screw-in case back, not a screw-down case back. And you can see it talks about the Japanese movement, but it does say cased in China. Okay? Apparently, they say these sorts of case backs make it almost idiot-proof to change your own battery. And that's nice to know. But this one sports a 10-year battery and a 1-year warranty, so that's pretty good. You know, I have to tell you, well, let's go through the pluses and the minuses, because what I want to say is related to that. The pluses of this is a really cool feature called Swap Your World Time. If you set your world time for another city and you travel between home and the other city frequently, if you press 2 buttons, and I don't know which 2 they are, if you press 2 buttons, your world time becomes your home time, and your home time becomes your world time if you're traveling to that destination. And right before your eyes, you can see the hands spin around to reset your world time to your now home time. And when you come back, you just press those same 2 buttons, and they reverse themselves. Now, that is handy for people who travel. There's no question about that. Another plus is the 10-year battery. Now, that's what they're claiming, and depending on how much you use the lighting features, etc., it might be less than 10, but still. Another real plus for me is that perpetual calendar. I have a whole bunch of quartz watches and 2, what do you call them, automatics. And the thing I dislike the most about either of them, especially the automatics, is changing the date when it gets behind. It's just, so if this thing can do that, that's great. I want to mention something about the display. You see it looks like a positive analog digital display. Well, in the lower light situation, it becomes a negative display. And I guess that's kind of cool if, if it does really adjust. I've seen it display both. Right now it's pretty legible with the white on the black. But I have to say this, when you're in the negative display mode, which is, of course, harder to read unless you're outdoors in brilliant sunlight, when you're in the negative display mode, the whole digital display case, it's like it's blacked out and it seems to match the rest of the dial. So the digital part is not like this big scar on an otherwise blacked out. It's kind of neat. Let's see. The negatives. Well, sometimes the negative display is hard to read if it hasn't changed over to a low light situation. The negatives to me are it feels like a plastic watch. Now, what did you expect, Luigi? You bought it knowing it was going to look like that. And that kind of bothered me so much, because this is not like the usual tool watches I buy, that I actually took it out of the rotation for a while. And then in preparing the notes for tonight's video, I'm thinking, that's not so bad. Maybe I'm going to start wearing it again. Maybe I'm going to start wearing it. I do like the calendar feature. I really, really do. Interesting watch. Got more features than I'll ever need. And I have this all set up. Daylight savings time, obviously, you don't even have to say that. They all come with that option. You can turn it off. If you don't want your clock to adjust automatically for daylight savings time, you can turn it off. Now, you can see it has applied indices. Did I tell you I paid $32 for this? It has applied indices, which is unusual for a watch of this price range. And the lume is only at the very outside tips of those. You can see the color change. So, I have seen other colorways. I kind of wish I had gotten the green strap with the black case, but this is what I have. And in just researching this video, I've kind of warmed up to this again, but my main objection was it looks and feels like a plastic watch, and it is. It's a resin watch. The strap is really comfortable, and it has these, boy, you see these teeth down here? It's got this ratchety kind of sound when you put it into the keeper, and which is, I don't know if you can hear it, but it's kind of nice. Like, you know, you're locking into engaging something. Yeah. What do we have? We have an unsigned buckle. That doesn't bother me. And I can't talk about a crown being unsigned because there are no crowns. That's about all I have for this watch. Kind of surprised me because I sort of gave up on it. I want to give a shout out here while we're doing this to Rob Bixby of the Apostle P channel. I've been watching him for at least half a dozen years. And even though I stopped collecting and buying knives several years ago, I still watch his channel faithfully, especially his knife sales on Tuesday night. Well, Rob, God bless him, is now reviewing watches. His watches. Apparently he has a collection. And I got to tell you, I really want to shout this guy out because Rob brings the same depth of knowledge, his knowledge base, and his same flair for description to the watch world. And if you don't know him or are not subscribed to him, I think you'll enjoy what he does. I think you really will. Okay, everybody, that's all I got. God bless you. I love you all. Take good care out there. Bye-bye.